"45 days without the Mullett Magician. Every like on this video sends him a hug. Please like this video. Please. And thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Postgame Show. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Petey. Danielle's behind the Mac. Craig calling in from Mullett Arena shortly. Petey, your thoughts on this one?
It's another day closer to the end of the season. For those,
That's the analysis we're here for.
Another day closer to the draft. So those are some positives out of today's tilt. It's funny because this Minnesota Wild team didn't look like they were very interested for the first 20 minutes. And I thought the Coyotes had glimpses of time where they were pretty good. And yeah, let's be honest, that first period was tough to watch. Neither team really took advantage in the first period. Everybody's kind of, I'm sure the trade deadline blues were hitting both locker rooms. But I tell you what, there were bursts for the Coyotes. I'm going to say there were a few positives from the Coyotes. Yeah. I think everybody's on edge thinking about tomorrow. I know Bjugstad's, working with his family issues and is having a baby, and that's got him stressed out. And Stecher has to pack his gear in the middle of the afternoon. That stresses everybody out. But Minnesota went through the same thing. Duhaime leaves their locker room in the middle of the day, and there's more rumored players out of their room tomorrow. So I bet you everybody's kind of playing on edge. This is the 24-hour period. It's unfortunate the Coyotes play tonight and tomorrow, like the day before the trade deadline, when a lot of things are happening, and again tomorrow. It's almost not fair. Like tomorrow night's game just shouldn't happen because there are going to be so many moves tomorrow. There are going to be rosters that are short tomorrow. But I'm not going to be too down on this team. They made mistakes, but Minnesota needed the win. Like Minnesota still feels they have a chance. So this is just another one to check off the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. This one, honestly, PD, for the Coyotes to get out of the first period 0-0 and there were no penalties, that was a win for this team. I know it wasn't the most invigorating period of all time. The second period, they were down 1-0 after it. Hunter Cherney came up with a big call there on the offside. And then the third period, all of a sudden the game got really exciting. Like the first 2 minutes of the third period, because I have to be honest, like the first two periods I was sitting there like, oh my God, like what kind of night are we in for here? And the first 2 minutes of that third period were thrilling. 2 goals in the span of 7 seconds. Then the Wild score 32 seconds later. It was just a complete chaotic start to the third period. And the game was, and honestly, the game was in the Coyotes' grasp the entire time. Then, they just give up 2 empty net goals, and there's really no coming back from that at the end.
Yeah, I don't know where you start to fault it. I'm looking at the challenge, the first challenge, that offside challenge. I mean, I hope their TVs for the referees, or the linemen, were in high def, because that one was close, man. That one, I'd have been sweating bullets in the back room on that call. But they get that one right, and the goalie interference call, to me, I always say this on this show, is when they get those calls, I always look, would I have made that call? And I always turn to Leah and say yes or no, I would have made that call. And she asked me tonight, and I said, yeah, I would have made the call. And this is one, to me, where the Koch is laying in the crease, which stops Vejmelka from moving from his right to his left. But Koch is in the crease because he was pushed in by a Minnesota Wild player. So to me, when Lucchini pushes in Koch, that's what causes the goal interference. So it should be Lucchini that's responsible for that. The only thing I think they might have thought is Lucchini was brought into the crease because Koch held Lucchini's stick and pulls him into the crease. And if Lucchini's the one's preventing Vejmelka from making the save, then Lucchini's in the crease from Koch. Sum up all that, Leah, I would have made the call too. it's unfortunate. I thought that those goal interference ones are just too hard, and that's honestly that's the difference in this game, because that's
There it is.
2-2. If they don't count that, this is 2-2, and then you're playing late into the game. So it is a difference. I still think it's a challenge you have to make, and anytime you do that, it's subjective. And so the Coyotes lose this one. To me, they lose by a goal. They don't lose by 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I like the whole time you were talking, all I was thinking about you saying Lucchini over and over again. I kept going, Lucchini.
I know. Can they get him on the line with Carcone and
we
Michelli?
need him to come to Arizona on the Michelli, Carcone, Lucchini line.
Yeah.
The spaghetti line.
You don't know Vinny Lettieri, but Vinny Lettieri also plays for that team. His dad was Tino Lettieri, who played goal for the indoor kicks soccer team in Minnesota when I was a kid. Lettieri, and he actually has a brand of Italian foods that you can buy in local grocery stores. So Lettieri is an Italian brand. So you need Lettieri, Lucchini, Michelli. We get them all together. Why not? Maybe they'll all play for the Italian Olympic team.
Who knows? We need to do some digging in Michelli's past. All right. Well, let's take a look at the numbers in this one. Presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union. Named by Forbes. Shots on goal, Minnesota 28, the Coyotes 25. Coyotes 1 for 3 on the power play. Minnesota 1 for 2. Face-offs pretty equal. Shot attempts also pretty equal. Coyotes had 63. Minnesota had 60. Petey, another issue, and not to just focus on the negative, but the penalty kill for this team. If you put last game and this game together, obviously, I mean, they took fewer penalties tonight, which I guess you could also say was a big improvement from last game. But it was the Wild's first power play of the game, and they capitalized after the Blackhawks were 4 for 5 on the power play last game. So I don't know what's happened to the Coyotes penalty kill as of late, but that continues to hurt them as well.
Yeah, that's 7, 8. That's 8 over the last 4 games. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot of goals where you're showing. And again, it's so if your penalty kill is going to struggle like that, what you need to do is you can't take any penalties. And I think that we've said that about this team for the entire season. They're one of the most penalized teams in the league, and yet their penalty kill struggles. Those teams are not. Those two things are not a good mix. But the other thing that didn't show on that stat sheet tonight, because the NHL does such a horrible job of keeping this stat, is the giveaways or the turnovers. And for example, the stat sheet has the Coyotes for 4 giveaways. Are you out of your mind? They had 4 on 1 play. Like, that's just a horrific stat. So never look at the NHL stats for giveaways. It was a problem. It was a problem, especially in their own end, and it led to 2 direct goals, one off Gunther and one off Cooley, and those turnovers cost this team. Again, they cost the game. Because if those are clean out of the zone, they can fight to live another day. So turnovers, it's not uncommon. How many times we said this on the postgame show? It's turnovers and it's penalties, and sometimes goaltending. And Vejmelka, I thought, made some unbelievable saves again tonight. But we were talking about slip sliding away again today. Boy, howdy, was he like he was on that one where he dives back and gets the goalie interference call. He's in row G before he has to get out of the stands, climb back in, and slide back in to try to make the save for goalie interference. There are a couple times, man, he just gets buzzing outside that crease. Again, it's 19 games to go in a season. They're not going to make the playoffs. We're talking about the draft season. Look for the little things that went well. So we'll try to find some bright spots as we continue on today.
Yeah, Veggie had his moments. He made a few huge saves. And honestly, Marc-Andre Fleury played extremely well. He robbed the Coyotes more than once. So credit to him as well. It wasn't for a lack of chances from the Coyotes. There were a handful that I can name that they had incredible scoring chances. And Marc-Andre Fleury, he looked like the flower of his youth. Not that he's been bad, but like he was an elite goaltender in his heyday. And there were some glimpses of that there tonight. Another comment, Doug said, no too many men calls. And I think we can call that a win.
That's a win.
So Chris said at least they had the right number of players on the ice. And that's true. And I was concerned going into the night with the 11-7. They had to make some adjustments with Jason Zucker, Matt Dumba out for trade-related reasons, Bjugstad out for family reasons, and then obviously Troy Stecher traded earlier today. They called up Patrik Koch, and they had to go with the 11-7, and normally that's a recipe for a too many men call. But so if we're gonna look for the small victories, PD, I guess We
Yeah,
can point that out as well.
it's funny because there were a couple moments as I was watching, and I go, "Oh, here's one coming." I just had that sense that two guys were going to come over for one. I just felt it coming, and they survived 60 minutes without taking a 2-minute man on the ice penalty. So again, that's a win. But it's still you still get frustrated because you still want to see this team perform better. And I know that they can, and they had those two games on the road where they went back to back, and they looked like they were starting to come around again. They looked like they were skating, and I think today was a lot of it was the confusion on the roster. And I think when Bjugstad, I think the plan was for him to probably go with his wife today. I think that was probably part of the plan. But my other question, and I'm going to ask Craig when he comes on, and I'm going to start posing it to some of the people I know around the league. When did trade related reasons really start? I know the
It,
term came here,
well,
right?
yeah, it feels like it started last season with Jacob Chikrin.
Yeah, the
Like, I
term.
don't remember it before then.
But I like there are so many players that are sitting out around the entire league. I don't remember it being like that. Like, I don't remember it being like that for like maybe if you were on the verge within the next hour of making a trade, but other than that, you didn't do it on hey, we might trade this guy. I just don't remember that. 5, 10 years ago, I thought players played right until they got
Like,
pulled off
players
in
would leave
warmups.
the ice during
Yes,
games because they were getting traded.
yes, like that's the stuff I want to see. I don't want to see a guy getting 3 or 4 days off in anticipation of the trade. So we're gonna ask Craig about trade related reasons, but I think that causes some disruption. When Koch gets called up late in the day, and
Wait, I need to read this from Craig, by the way, because Craig tweeted this, and he's going to talk more about Koch when he comes on. But Craig tweeted, Coyotes defenseman Patrik Koch was at the park with his kids when he found out he was getting called up. Craig said, I asked him how his kids reacted when they heard the news. He said, they're too small. They just wanted lunch.
there we go. Yeah, we want to stay on the swings, Daddy. Except they said it, but that's too funny. They didn't care. We don't care. Daddy's got to go. Daddy's got to hurry. But doesn't it seem like there just seems like it's just a kerfuffle in the locker room when all of these things are going on. I don't know, and I don't know what they're going to talk about on trade deadline day. They're all done, like all the big ones. If you do want to talk, don't change now. Don't change the YouTube channel now. But when this is over, you have to tune into the What Chaos. The What Chaos trade deadline show. It is
I mean,
24
that
hours.
is comedy. Like, we had it up because we had the Coyotes game on one TV, Suns on the other, and the What Chaos stream on the other. And watching that out of context because we had the volume down to watch our games, like, they're painting, they're playing Bop It, they're opening confetti wrong. It has been so entertaining, and they have so long to go. So as Chris said, we need to drop over to the Chaos All-Nighter and keep SDP awake, and that is true. So everybody, after the show is over, go in there. There's a lot of people watching too. The chat is a lot of fun.
Funny. It's really funny, and once in a while they'll actually talk about some hockey trade deadline stuff at the same time.
Well, the Jake Gensel trade finally happened, so at least that'll keep them busy for a while. And by the way, I've been meaning to say this for a few days. Trade-related reasons. So you know how there's a band called Five for Fighting?
Yes.
And their band name is based on hockey, like Five for Fighting. Trade-related reasons?
Buddy.
Band name?
Band name. I
think so.
That sounds like a great band name.
I agree. Anywho, we do have a Desert Dog to award tonight. And, Carcone, he just got it. So let's give it to the other guy who scored. Clayton Keller got things started off. 1 goal, 3 shots on goal. Good to see him getting, to quote Tyson Nash, in the back of the net after returning from his missing a few games from injury and finally getting back on the score sheet. So congrats, Clayton Keller. You're our Desert Dog. And, I mentioned already that Carcone scored 7 seconds later. Someone in the chat had asked where that ranks in fastest goals in Coyotes history. So in Coyotes history, it's the second fastest goal. The fastest was 6 seconds in 1999. In franchise history, the fastest was 4 seconds in 1995. So it's rare that you see something like that. And I think it's even crazier that Minnesota scored 32 seconds after that. Because like I said, it was just the most chaotic 2 minutes of hockey I've watched in a really long time. But
yeah, well, Keller, it's good to see him coming back after this injury. He missed it 4 games, and I thought he skated really well tonight. I thought he looked sharp on the power play. Again, I said, I don't know if you were listening, but I did say bet on Keller anytime score on our last show because he was going to score tonight, and he did. Just saying.
Wow. You're always giving out winners, Petey.
I know.
And you'll hopefully give out winners to everybody who comes to our PHNX Coyotes pregame meetup at Four Peaks on Sunday, March 24th. We hope to see everybody there. There's still plenty of tickets available for the pregame meetup. That will be at Four Peaks. Like I mentioned, tickets include food and drink. And then there's 2 tickets remaining for the takeover. So those include the tickets to the game as well as the pregame meetup. So we hope to see everybody there Sunday, March 24th. If you're a diehard, you get 20% off. Your link is pinned in our Discord channel right now. So make sure you're logged in as a diehard to save one of the many perks to becoming a diehard, as well as access to our Discord, 20% off on merch and diehard only content as well. I was dropping some fun nuggets from morning skate, some fun videos of Bears availability today. So always trying to give a behind the scenes perspective to our diehards, because we like to add value to the lives of our diehards. And we also like to add value to all of your lives. And if you want to do that with money, with $200, all you have to do is sign up for Desert Financial Credit Union, open a free checking account online, boom, $200. So make sure if you've been thinking about changing banks or you just want a bonus $200, when you open a free checking account online with Desert Financial Credit Union, get $200 in bonuses. And it's not just checking accounts. They have savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit card, investment options, and more. So get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
And as I just mentioned, I've had another good day on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. And BetMGM Sportsbook app, I don't know how they're like, I got to try this over. Take 2. BetMGM Sportsbook app is the official sportsbook app of PHNX. And I've had another good day. Not only did I get the Clayton Keller anytime score, former Coyote Travis Green coached his first win for the New Jersey Devils. And I got another win on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. Sports are more fun when you have skin in the game. March Madness, baseball opening day, NBA, NHL playoffs, they're all coming. It's easier to be a part of the action with the BetMGM Sportsbook app. Sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first bet on the BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application for at least $5. You will receive $150 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now, listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms. This promotional offer is not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
All right. Well, let's bring him in from Mullett Arena. It's Craig. Hello, Craig.
Being stabbed again. There we go.
Always.
You guys see what's going on behind me, by the way?
There's a lot of people.
No, what is happening on the ice? Oh, wow.
Wow.
Who is that?
So there is a big, I don't know the name of the company, but there's a big Canadian company in town. They all got tickets to the game tonight. They were literally all wearing the same shirt. It looked like a giant choir sitting in the student section. It was really weird, but they were told that they had to root for the Coyotes if they were going to be in the building tonight, and they did. So
well, there you go. There you go.
Good. Craig, we've shared some of our thoughts. What are yours?
I thought they were okay in this game. I mean, you take 4 guys away from the lineup and say, go play. It's not easy, right? Nick Bjugstad out, Troy Stecher out, Matt Dumba out, Jason Zucker out. Those are important players in your lineup, and they're all out. So I thought they were okay. You know, some of the same mistakes in the third period, turnovers that hurt them. But I don't, what are you going to say at this point? It's a slow march to the end of the season. And when I was looking at the standings, at least earlier, I noticed that the Columbus Blue Jackets had won and the Senators were winning in LA. So, maybe the Ducks will heat up a little bit and the number 3 pick isn't out of reach. Wow, it's getting crazy here, by the way. I can
hear the shouting.
I think they're going to start curling soon on the ice. Who knows?
Yeah, what is going on? You're right, Craig. The ups and down standings. This was a good day. Keep it close for a long time. Keep the people excited, and let Ottawa and Columbus win hockey games. And for us, the irony of us this season at this time of year right now, thinking about the reverse standings in the draft is just out of my mind, because in January 10th we were talking about the playoffs. This is craziness.
It is. It's nuts.
Down standings. It is. But I'm all in now.
Guys, again, I'll ask this question. I've asked it many times before, but I want to ask it again. What is goaltender interference?
As everyone on Twitter replied, Who is goaltender interference? How is goaltender interference? When is goaltender interference? I don't know.
I mean, there was some talk with the officials that Patrik Koch, or Koch, as they're saying around here, which I can't do it.
We've been saying Coach.
Yeah, we got the perfect translator, right? So we know what we're doing here. They're saying they had a little hold of him, he went down because of that. I don't know. What did you guys see? It looked like a cross check that put two players in Karel Vejmelka's way, so he couldn't make a save. That's what.
That's what I said too. I said that Koch is in the crease because of the push from, and I'm going to say it again, Lucchini got pushed him into the net, and that's why the interference occurred, and it's created by the Minnesota player. That's what I saw. I'd like to hear the explanation. The only other explanation that I saw that was a little bit different was that the Coyote defenseman had his arm draped around Lucchini's stick, which pulled Lucchini in with him, but it's still Lucchini that creates the whole mess. So as we've said for many times and many years, Craig, we have no idea what goalie interference is.
We did get the official explanation from the NHL, and I've shared these with you before. The official explanation said that it was determined there was no goaltender interference. So thank you for that detailed explanation.
There we go. So now I know exactly what they saw. Thank you.
I understand.
Thanks for clearing that up. Appreciate that, NHL. Coming through again. They should make them. I agree, Craig. They should say the referee should get out there and tell us at center ice. Well, we saw this. And okay. If that's what you saw, that's what you saw. Okay.
Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, especially if we're going to have like these 10-minute reviews like we have anyway, at least tell us what you were talking about. Can we get a little insight here? We'd like to hear what the call was. But no, you don't get it. You never get it. And you can't talk to the official, so who the hell knows what they were thinking.
Yep. It was in the game-winning goal, and somebody asked when did it occur. It was the game-winning goal halfway through the third period. So it was a big deal. Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah. Anyway.
Craig, we read your tweet about Patrik Koch and his kids at the park, which is hilarious.
How great was that?
Yeah. So funny. Any other takeaways from tonight's post-game availability?
Not really, guys, because as Patrick Brown and I predicted before we even started this postgame, this will be the shortest postgame of the season. Look, you're going into the trade deadline tomorrow. This team is just spiraling. Everybody's in a bad mood. What's there to ask? What's there to ask at this point? So we requested the new guy, and we walked out of the dressing room after he answered 5 or 6 questions. And we went to Andre, and we asked Andre a grand total of 3 questions, and we were done. So not a lot of insight from this postgame. What the hell can you say? The trade deadline's tomorrow. There's going to be more changes to this roster. We can talk about it tomorrow, but the games just almost feel inconsequential other than the upside-down standings.
Totally. And by the way, Craig and I were at Morning Skate today, talked to Andre Tourigny and Michael Carcone, and they gave some really great and thoughtful insight and honest insight into how the trade deadline affects the human side of the game in the locker room, not as players on the ice, but as human beings. So that's up on our YouTube channel right now, PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you go take a look at that, because I thought it really painted a good picture and kind of helps maybe explain just this week. So, but while we're talking about the trade deadline, we haven't all sat here together, and we're going to do a trade deadline show tomorrow afternoon, whatever happens. But let's talk about the Troy Stecher trade, the transaction of the day presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. The trade, of course, for those who might not to remember, is Troy Stecher and a 2024 7th round pick to Edmonton for a 2027 4th round pick. We'll break it down a little bit more tomorrow, but I wanted to get your initial thoughts since we haven't all talked about it yet.
Yeah, I mean, here's my take on this. This is basic asset management. That's all this is. You have a guy on an expiring contract who's not going to be back next season. Troy Stecher's not coming back here. So what do? You let him walk for nothing? No, of course not. Like a ton of GMs, not just Bill Armstrong, would do the same thing. What can we get for him? 4th round pick? Honestly, a little bit surprised it was a 4th round pick. I thought it would be lower for Troy Stecher. We saw what happened last year when it was the Ritchie brothers being exchanged and then Connor Mackey coming back, who, neither of those guys are with the club. It was what was the point of that one? Because you really didn't get anything for the future. Well, you just got a future asset. So a lot of GMs would make this. Why 2027? as Bill has said many times, we want to build sustainable success. And it's not just about, okay, here's a few good drafts. Okay, and then we're going to be down to 5 draft picks. They want to keep having draft capital coming in. That's how you keep having a pipeline and building a pipeline. I know it's a 4th round draft pick. Some good players like Matias Michelli have come from the 4th round, but you can also use it as an asset in other trades. So it's just more capital. It's more assets. Again, this is basic asset management. It's okay to get attached to the player. We all love Troy Stecher. We're going to miss him. I think he's an incredible guy. I thought he was underappreciated, underrated here. I liked a lot of what he did, but this is GMing. This is the business of the game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I mean, I'm sorry. I agree with everything Craig said. Just rewind it and play it again, and that's my thoughts. Because Troy Stecher, there's no reason we don't like Troy Stecher, but this team's not going to the playoffs. They have 19 games left, and when those 19 games are up, Troy Stecher doesn't play here anymore, and he's not going to play here next season. There are so many defensemen in the pipeline that they want to get more ice time. There's different players that want to give a look at that position, and a 4th round pick. I know I've heard some people online today saying, "Well, it's a 4th round pick. That's nothing." Well, no, it's actually something. It's and nothing is nothing. A 4th round pick is something. So, I also believe Craig's saying it's so far in the future that it can be bundled with something else. And by that year in 2027, you hope this is a playoff team, and you're going, oh my gosh, they have an extra pick in that round. Because we were listening to the DNVR guys, and they have no picks in any rounds ever. And it's just part of the fact of trying to win a cup. You deplete your cupboards of what your stockpile is. And so he's looking into the future that when this team is a playoff team, they still have assets in their cupboard. I think it's a good move for a player that probably, you're definitely going to walk for free, and to get that high of an asset, I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, with Troy Stecher, what's his role going to be in Edmonton? Like, no slight on Troy Stecher, but he's going to be a guy who's in and out of the lineup in the playoffs.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
But he brings them to, when you're looking for a long run, they're looking for an experienced NHL defenseman that can jump in if he needs to. And now they've got him.
You know what else Troy Stecher brings to Edmonton? Fashion. Let's celebrate. This is like the second time we've done this because he got traded last time. But these are just some of Troy Stecher's best looks.
Right there.
Without question, the most fashionable guy on this Coyotes team, if not one of the most fashionable guys in the league. It's unreal. We have to celebrate his looks because, as Petey likes to say,
look at that GP pose.
God, that's good. He will be missed. That he has. Look at that drip. That is he is such a sharp dresser. We will miss. I don't have to wear an overcoat in Edmonton at this time of year. Still, he's not going shades and no overcoat.
And Craig, I know Petey and I are stuck on the fashion, but there's a part of Troy Stecher's life that you love as well.
Yeah, I'm stuck on dogs, as you know. And this is Phoebe, Bernie's mountain dog. Look at this dog. She's incredible. And you talk to Troy about Phoebe, he'll just gush about her, which is like a test of a human being in my mind, like how much they love their dog. You could say, oh yeah, I got a dog. Well, how much do you love that dog? Troy Stecher he's like, that's my girl. That's my girl. Aww. He loves Phoebe. So, and I never got to meet Phoebe, so I'm a little ticked about this. So, I'm kind of hoping in some way, shape, or form, Troy makes his way back to Arizona, even if it's just for the Phoebe tour.
All right. Well, we know that Jason Zucker and Matt Dumba were sat tonight for trade-related reasons. Craig, are you hearing anything on that front, as anything in the pipeline for those two?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk around both of those players, but the sense is, and I guess it's pretty obvious at this point, it's going to the 11th hour. It's going to go right up to the deadline. I still think both of those guys will be moved. Those may be the only moves, guys, that are coming after Troy Stecher. But they could go down to the wire here because teams are exploring a lot of options. Again, when you start looking at the pecking order of players available, neither of those guys is near the top, but both of those guys are probably players that a team feels can help them in some respect. So eventually they'll circle back to them and they'll both be moved somewhere around the trade deadline, which is, of course, 1:00 Arizona time tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how the price will change over that time too. Because and one thing that Bill Armstrong has always done, he's stuck to his guns when it comes to what he thinks his assets are worth, and it seems to have paid off in the past. So maybe it does again. And I think probably right now that he's holding tight to see what he can get and at the best deal. He will hold out as long as he can.
It's gonna be a long day tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, not as long as What Chaos guys though.
Yeah,
how about that? That's crazy.
That is insane.
Oh,
Again, I did
man.
my first super chat. I did a super chat for him.
Oh,
today.
you did? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Oh,
was in on
man.
like the first hour. Like I think 15 minutes in, DJ's like, "How much more time we got left?" Yeah. Good luck, buddy.
I
Woo!
have their
That's
stream open
crazy.
in a tab, and I just clicked on their show, and they have a graphic of Yanni Gord on the screen, but it says Jan, like Yawne Gord. So maybe that's like their I'm tired graphic. I don't know. Again, I've tuned in many times with no volume, and it's hilarious. But speaking of super chats, we have one from Roaring Fork who said, Gary Bettman in the house tomorrow, Craig?
No.
All
Flat
right.
out, no.
There you
No.
go. Another question for you. I think some people were wondering, why Patrik Koch was recalled over the likes of Zuber, Soderstrom, Kolyachonek. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, look at Tucson's situation right now, right? They were scuffling for a bit there. You don't want to decimate that team anymore. You'd like to keep the good vibes going down in Tucson. Patrik Koch also earned a spot, right? He's done some good things down there. I know he's not necessarily one of their top prospects, but he's done some good things for them, and he's probably earned a shot to at least get a look. It's going to be a short look, right? I don't know what's going to be coming back in terms of bodies. Matt Dumba's probably out the door, so they're going to need defensemen, but this is a nice little reward for him for bringing a lot to the table. And I asked Steve Potvin and John Slaney, who coaches the defenseman down in Tucson, just for their scouting reports. Here's what Pot said. Early in the year, he'd have 3, 4, 5 big hits, like highlight hits, every game. And it's not an exaggeration. Had to pull back a little bit for better line rush reads, but he's a great competitor. He prepares well, and he's well respected. So obviously the coaching staff likes him a lot. I'll read just Slaney's comments too. Stay-at-home defenseman, skates well, is not flashy in any regards, but he just keeps it simple with the puck, does have a physical side to his game. He's not necessarily a fighter, but he's a guy who will lay the big hits. Again, this is what they're both saying. He'll defend the net front very well and likes to box out. So there are some things that he can bring. And again, like it's not always about just rewarding the prospects. You want to give some of these other guys who've done good service down in Tucson a look. And again, you don't want to disrupt what's happening down there too much. Tucson's in a playoff push right now. They're in a fight. They've been scuffling a little bit. They're trying to right the ship. You've taken Dylan Gunther away. You've taken Michael Kesselring away. You can't keep taking players away and expect them to succeed. So that's part of the picture here. Part of your development is thinking about what's best for your AHL franchise. I know that sounds a little crazy, but there are times when you look at the AHL franchise and say, hey, they got a nice role going down there. We like what's happening down there. Let's not disrupt it any more than we have to.
Yeah, and he led all Coyotes in hits except for Liam O'Brien. He had 4 attempts at net, only 1 hit the net. But I'm not going to give an assessment of his play today.
Yeah.
It's hard to evaluate. He played 9 minutes. No major mistakes. The one thing is he's the one laying face first in the crease on the game winning goal. But I'm not necessarily saying it's his fault. I'm just saying that's a fact. But he had a turnover late in the third period that didn't amount to anything, and it didn't lead into a scoring chance. But I thought he skated well enough. He moved the puck well enough. I mean, it honestly, there's no evaluating a player that plays 9 minutes in his first NHL game like this. It's just not fair.
Yeah, an 11-7 formation, right? So.
Yeah,
7 defensemen in the lineup.
So you're sitting on the bench for so many, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotations, and then you finally jump out. He got through it. He survived it, and he can check that box. I've played in the NHL, so we'll evaluate him as he continues in his career.
One other update, Craig. Speaking of bodies, Travis Boyd.
This one surprised me because the reports were that Travis Boyd was going to be, report from me, that he was going to be out for the rest of the season with a pectoral muscle injury. Travis Boyd could return this season. Like, they're going to make that evaluation in a week or so. He says he's feeling really good. He's skating. I don't know yet what's going to happen, but like I said, in another week or two, they're going to decide whether he can come back. I'm sure they'd love to have another body, and it would be really cool. I think it was you that said this today at practice, Leah. It'd be nice for Travis Boyd if it didn't end the way it did, with him on an expiring contract. You don't want to see it end that way for Travis Boyd. So hopefully he'll get back and get some time, and maybe, he can earn himself a contract somewhere. Not sure it's going to be here, but hopefully he can earn another contract. Good
He's
guy.
from Minnesota too.
There's that.
I knew that was coming.
Had to do it. Sorry.
All right. Well, Craig, anything else before we let you get out of here?
No, gonna be, like I said, gonna be a long day, so I might as well get home and get a little bit of sleep because it's always nerve wracking to sleep this time of year. Like you never know when you're gonna get a text message, and they're like, and I'll say it now because he's not here, but like John Chaika was like a guy who just stayed up crazy hours. I'd get a text message from at 2:30 in the morning, like what the hell is going on here? But there'd be news, so you just never know at the trade deadline what's gonna happen.
So true. Well, Craig, get some rest, and we will talk to you many, many times tomorrow, I'm sure.
Indeed.
All
All right,
right.
guys. We'll
Bye,
see you in
Craig.
a few short hours.
All right. Well, one of the worst parts about the trade deadline for the players getting traded away is illegal Pete's. I mean, what are you going to do without it? Unless you're getting traded to the Colorado Avalanche because there's illegal Pete's in Colorado, you're really missing out. So it's kind of a reminder to us all. We need to appreciate what we have. And we here in Arizona have illegal Pete's, the best queso, the best bowls, the best burritos, the best margaritas, illegal Pete's. And with college basketball season and crunch time, win or lose, Illegal Pete's is here to bring you a win with their legendary sound check deal. Bring in your ticket stub from any ticketed event and get a draft beer or house margarita for a penny. Illegal Pete's wants to celebrate with you, whether it's a pregame or postgame party. With locations in Tucson and Tempe, Arizona, they got you covered on all your game day needs. Must purchase an adult entree to redeem Illegal Pete's sound check deal. Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
And I went and stopped for gas today because I was nearly at a quarter tank. So I was almost at the 100-mile mark. So I had to fill up at my local Circle K, America's thirst stop, gas stop, and snack stop. I've been spreading the word on the Circle K plain kettle cooked chips. They are the official snack of Petey. And if you haven't joined the Circle K free membership program, now is the time. Join the Inner Circle. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. Get every 6th item free of a selection of Circle K products, including their pizza, their coffee, and their ice-cold fountain drinks. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Please visit CircleK.com for more details.
James said, I hope the Mullett Magician can come to work tomorrow.
Boy, howdy. How many days, Leah? You actually had the number.
45.
That is insane. This team was 8th in home wins last year in the entire NHL, in the entire frickin' league. It's been 45
I
days.
miss him.
Just wait. There's so many good things ahead.
Ugh.
It is so sad.
Well, speaking of ahead, let's just take a look at the upcoming schedule. The Coyotes have one more home game before heading on the road. The Detroit Red Wings in town. Christian Fischer, Shane Gostisbehere, a couple familiar faces will be at Mullett Arena tomorrow night. And then on Sunday, it's on the road for a little deja vu tour. Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit. back to back again before returning home to face the New Jersey Devils on Saturday. So very interesting schedule coming up.
It's interesting.
It's time for revenge, I guess.
I've never seen that before, and that I can remember. I might have been hungover on some of them. But sorry, those road trips got long back in the day, and I was a lot younger. But Detroit there's a concern. This team's playing on a back-to-back. The trade deadline is absolutely going to cause chaos inside the Coyote locker room tomorrow. It's going to be goodbyes. They won't have a morning skate. I can't imagine there's any reason they'd have a morning skate. It's a day where players you don't want to be around. It's so stressful. They have you put the TV channel on and you're watching the trade tracker live. It's just horrific. So no morning skate. Detroit's in a completely different spot. They're looking for a playoff run. They might be adding a player tomorrow, so they're going to be pumped up and happy. I don't know if that bodes well for Arizona, but you never know. It's strange things happen when we were talking about Travis Green today. They lost Taylor Toffoli, their leading scorer today, and they come out with an amazing performance tonight for the New Jersey Devils. So we'll see. I don't know where the next win is. Maybe in Chicago. I don't know. This is going to be a tough stretch.
Tragic. Very tragic. Also,
Red's in with the Leafs. The Go Leafs go.
Even though they lost.
They lost. They. By the way, can I say something about the Leafs today?
Yes.
Because you know what I'm going to say, Leah.
I do.
Because a friend of the program, been on the program, Paul Bissonnette, said, what a response. Way to go, Leafs. And I thought, oh, my God, they won? They beat Boston? No, they won a fight. Like, I'm telling you, HK on winning a fight. HK, they lost to Boston twice in the same week, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, twice. But they won a fight. You know who was going to care about that? No one. Like no one. So if you get swept in the playoffs, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, but you won 2 fights, is it a win? No. Sorry, Brett. It is not a win. It is not a comeback. It's not an answer. It's not an answering the bell. They lost. They got beat by Boston twice, and that's probably who they're going to play. And if they don't play Boston, you know who they're going to play? They're going to play Florida.
Oh,
So good luck to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sorry, Brett. I'm just a realist.
Brett, who would you rather play in the first round?
Florida or Boston?
Florida or Boston? Let us know. I want to read this tweet from Todd on Twitter because we were just talking about the lack of Mullett Magic lately. And he said, the Mullett crowds have no energy anymore. Kind of eerie in there tonight. There were a lot of Wilds fans present, but they weren't loud either. And it got me thinking, I wonder if, last season Mullett was so new and it was so unique, and every game and every team that came in, it was a new experience. And that's what, gave them that huge bump. And maybe this season, it's like the reality of it being year 3 of the rebuild set in, the uncertainty of the future set in, and like the novelty has worn off a little bit, maybe. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'm curious if.
And the other thing is too, they're losing, and it's hard to create atmosphere in years. Like if this team is still edging around a playoff spot, I think the crowds are more into it and more excited. I really believe that. It's hard. It's hard when your team isn't in a position where winning. I hate to say it, where winning doesn't matter. It's really hard. And you're right, Leah. The shine is wearing off. I don't know about year 3, 4, and 5 there. I don't know.
We can talk about that another day. PD, we didn't. If you're listening on audio, you don't see this, but PD and I did not plan this. I'm wearing a Coyotes hoodie, and PD's wearing a Roadrunners hoodie.
Yep.
So we are representing the
entire organization
as a whole. But PD, I know, speaking of the Roadrunners, you wanted to give a little acknowledgement.
I do, and I seem to get in trouble when I acknowledge people on the show, but I wore the Roadrunner hoodie for a reason. First of all, it's one of my favorite hoodies that I own. It really is. It's a quarter zip.
It's awesome.
It's sick. But we actually got them from the head equipment manager down there in Tucson Roadrunners, Eric Bechtel, Big E down there. And it is his 2000th pro game. Stan's was 2,500 early in the week. Eric Bechtel hit 2,000 right now. And I want to say this about E. The job they do is tireless. And in the American League, it's even harder because you're not planes, trains, and automobiles. It's buses, taxis, and Ubers. It's way different in the American League. So hats off to Eric Bechtel. And the other thing I want to say to Eric is my son Jackson worked for Eric while he was in college down there in Tucson. And he learned a lot from Eric. And Eric took really good care of him. And I appreciate all the things that he did for my son. And I just want to make sure that I give a big shout out to a guy that really helps make that organization go down there in Tucson. So congratulations to Eric Bechtel. If you go to a game down there in Tucson, bring a sign saying thanks Eric, or give him a shout out when you walk by. He's the old man with glasses. And that's it, Big E. So thanks, Big E, and congratulations on 2,000 games.
That's awesome. What a freaking accomplishment. Again, like we said when we talked about Stan, when you really think about how many games 2,000 is, I just can't even imagine. And as you mentioned, just in the American Hockey League, it's not as flashy as the NHL. So you really got to love it. Bees asked about Travis Dermott. PD, I don't know if you noticed that he stopped playing. His last shift was in the second period. And he didn't play at all in the third.
Yeah, but I didn't see anything, and I'll go back, and if I see something on the film, Bees, I'm sorry, if I see something on the film, I'll let you know. I would highly, highly, highly doubt there's anything trade related there.
No,
it was probably precautionary, and they had an extra defenseman on the bench. So
yeah, and Craig and Bees, I know you just got here. Craig didn't say anything about it, so we'll monitor that going into tomorrow night as it is a back-to-back. So we'll see. And speaking of that, today Bear obviously said Veggie was starting, and he said tomorrow we'll see. You think they go Ingram tomorrow?
I do. I think it's Ingram tomorrow. I think there was enough work tonight for Vejmelka. I would be shocked if Connor Ingram doesn't go tomorrow, but those dreaded trade related reasons, you don't know who could be gone from this team. I know Leah and I talked about this earlier today that they won't touch that asset, or they won't trade this player or that player. Man, when you're in a position like the Arizona Coyotes, everybody's for sale. You might say they're not, but they are. It just depends what that price is. And so I would be surprised if they let go of a goaltender like Connor Ingram. But you know what? If the price is right, nothing would surprise me that Bill Armstrong does to improve the team. So I would anticipate Ingram unless some unusual circumstances come up tomorrow.
There you go. All right. Well, let's finish things off by taking a look at the punch card, which has gotten back to its tragic state of being very red. But PD, we have officially finished another line of the punch card. There's only 2 lines left plus 1 square.
Wow. Can you believe how quickly this season has gone by? And I think it's because they were winning. But boy, did this go fast. Compared to that first year, man, that thing just drug and drug and drug. It was so painful and bad. And now it's just buzzing by. There's 2 rows left, Leah. We can do that. We can do that. Stand on our head. 2 rows.
Easily do that.
Easily 2 rows. And we got a meetup in there that'll take 1 game out of the mix.
Yeah, it's going to be
You know what we got to
fun.
do, Leah? We got to pick. Tomorrow I'll be down in the studio tomorrow, and we'll go through the calendar, and we need to pick another watch along.
We already did.
Oh, we did? Okay.
He
Was
doesn't
I
pay
part
attention.
of it? Was
In
I part
April,
of that?
we're going to do another watch along.
Oh,
so
awesome. That's a great idea.
And a watch along is not complete without a Four Peaks beer. So you best believe Petey and I will be drinking our way through the watch along and drinking our way through Craig's St. Patrick's Day party.
Oh.
And honestly, at Gerald's upcoming wedding, I'm sure there's going to be Four Peaks there as well. So
Yeah.
Four Peaks, they're along for the ride, whatever the ride may be. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events, and check out at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please enjoy responsibly.
And everyone out there, it's time to update your home. And I know some people are getting tax refunds. Not everybody, but some people do. Why don't you put some of that money aside and get yourself new flooring? Because take it from me, new floors make your home feel brand new. So it's time to call Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get a shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation. Work with Empire Today. It's easy, quick, and convenient. You get someone in your home that day and eliminate back and forth to a store. Speed and service that you won't get from a big box store. Empire Today's virtual floor designer is a great way to see how your floors will look in any space. It's easy to snap a picture and instantly see how their floors will look in your room. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for details.
PD, any final thoughts on this
Um,
game?
And I please don't take this the wrong way, but for Coyote fans, it's just another game now. It checked a box because especially with the trade deadline coming, this one they just wanted to get through it. I know it's a loss and it's frustrating, but there were some bright moments. I thought Clayton Keller was good. It was great to see Koch, and I'm going to say Koch, and I know Craig will get mad at me for saying Koch because that's what we were told to say. Koch, he got his first NHL game, and I thought Veggie made some good saves. I thought, there were moments they looked offensively engaged. I like Carcone's game. So there were some positives. We're not going to get frustrated when they lose, unless they lose but with just stupid mistakes. Then I might get mad again. With 19 to go, and we're starting to talk about the draft. And this team, seriously, this team has a better chance to get the ping pong ball to come up number 1 than they did a year ago. So if Macklin Celebrini becomes an Arizona Coyote and is playing day 1 next year at the Mullett, they can lose the next 19 and I'll be okay.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I can't believe it. Next time we talk, the trade deadline will be behind us. Like I mentioned, we're going to do a trade deadline show sometime mid-afternoon, just depending on what time everything goes down. And then, of course, we'll have our post-game show tomorrow night. Once again, NHL. No more games on trade deadline day. Gary, if you're listening, not in Arizona. But yeah, that's a huge. That's like we talk about all of the benchmarks of the season. The trade deadline is the last one of the regular season.
And make sure you subscribe to PHNX so you don't miss it. And Leo, I'm sure someone, not me, but someone will be tweeting out when the exact time that we're going to be on. Will be tweeted from the PHNX Coyotes account. So make sure you sign up, log in. I don't know what you do. Would you favorite it? Would you thumbs it?
Follow the PHNX Coyotes account on Twitter. And if you can also subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll never miss when we go live, because we plan to go live 2 times tomorrow for that show and our post-game show. So tune in, and all of those shows are available on audio as well, wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure you subscribe there as well, not only to listen on audio, but because we do weekly audio only episodes as well. But before we wrap up, again, I just want to give another shout out to our friends at What Chaos. I keep clicking on their tab. They look unhinged. It's 12:45 a.m. for them. I'm going to drop the link to their show in our chat right now. Go support them. Go send them super chats. Send chats.
PHNX.
Yeah. Go everybody. Like, I think it would be so fun as soon as the show ends if you all jump in their chat and just spam hi from PHNX, hi from PHNX. It would probably make them really happy. So I'm going to go watch on my drive home, or listen on my drive home as well. They're having a blast. It's so fun. And if any Coyotes trades happen, they're going to talk about it because they're going to be live during it. So if you're waiting for us to go live, you can always tune in and see what they have to say as well. But that's it from us. Again, everybody hit the like button before you leave here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow Craig, most importantly, because he has the trades. He has the details at Craig S. Morgan. You can follow Petey at S. Peters Hockey. Follow me at Leah Merrill. Follow Danielle at Abrica Danielle. You can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody, and we will see you all tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.